Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good evening, depending on where you are watching me from. I'm here again. See, this election, this governorship election, it go too tough. People there for Nigeria. Honestly, time don't reach when we want to comot anything will be like, godfatherism and all that. See, this guy, Gbadebo, where they come out for Lagos State, we could not hear wetin him talk, where they ask him wetin him go do for the first 100 days for office.
But if you get elected as governor of Lagos State, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is open up the accounts of Lagos State. We're going to ensure that it's line by line item transparent in terms of our costing. We'll use infographics to actually make it more understandable, because the idea is to build trust again with the people of Lagos. I believe that the relationship between the governor and the people that he governs must be sacrosanct, especially in a state that celebrates this high IGR. Now, in laying this foundation, we then set a value that is, we're tying values to World Bank benchmarks and best practice. So you now know that a kilometer of road should cost this. So when you see a contract figure that comes in, you compare it to that and you can see that we're stretching our resources. And in opening all of this, we're also creating an enabling environment that can make Lagos State, we're aiming to make Lagos State #1 in relation to ease of doing business. That way, we don't tie the development of Lagos to the purse strings of the state. We open it up to infrastructure developers and the private sector to actually get involved in project delivery. We also make sure that we depoliticize the entire waste management system. So we create a platform-based system where you have a truck, you have the equipment, we inspect it, you plug and play. You don't need to know anybody in the party, you don't need to be connected. It will pretty much be the Uber system. You have the mechanism, you plug in, you play, you get your routes. We're also going to domicile waste management at the local government level. So waste is separated from the houses, and the routes of each of these things are separate. So organic waste in organic waste paper, and we're actually going to focus on waste management, not picking and dumping, upcycling, recycling, waste to wealth. So these are some of the things we'll do in the first 100 days. And lastly, and this is very low-hanging fruit, we'll open up the BRT lane to the private sector. Bus hailing devices, bus hailing services. So any bus that can take more than 40 people can use the BRT lane. It will no longer be a monopoly. Aside from that, we'll start to then x-ray why our projects have taken so long. Why is it that a president came to commission a blue line and yesterday nobody used it, tomorrow nobody is going to use it, by the point I'm inaugurated, I'm sure nobody will be using it either. The fact of the matter is, we need to be able to say to the people, this is what has happened to the resources of Lagos State in the last 20 years, and this is how we are going to manage it better. We must account for what we are meeting on ground, so we have a baseline, and then set the standards for better behavior and better management of resources of Lagos State.
Amazing. You sound like you have a script for corporate governance in Lagos.
Absolutely. And Gbadebo, you know what? Since we're talking about your plans for the people of Lagos, you've been quite vocal about what you plan to do with Alpha Beta, so I'm not going to go in that direction. But you're making a promise to Lagosians about taking millions out of poverty, especially the young people. Would like you to walk us through that. And also, the fact that you have a deputy as a woman is your deputy. Speaking about Princess Islamiat Oyefusi, talk to us about your plan for the women, the plans you have for the women in Lagos, if and when you become governor.
Okay. So for us, the focus is to fight urban poverty. It's a completely different kettle of fish from rural poverty. And like you said, those funds over the last 20 years, over about between 1.2 to 1.6 trillion in present-day value has been accumulated by Alpha Beta, and Lagos State did not crumble. We're going to take those resources, take that money out, and put it into an empowerment program that's going to lift 1 million people, 1 million Lagosians out of poverty. The idea will be they group themselves into 5, and loans of up to 1 million will be given to them to engage in productive work, with partnership with the government, because the government actually is requiring a lot of services to make Lagos State actually excellent. I'm talking about maintaining our gutters, I'm talking about cleaning the roads, I'm talking about engaging in environmental and waste management systems. So any business or any aggregation of people that are willing to get involved in this, the government is also going to help give them these interest-free loans and targets 1 million Lagosians every year. And the idea of this is that it then has a multiplier effect, because these monies can then go and create a circular economy in each of those local governments. And we're also going to focus on giving all these young men that are wasting their lives on the streets and have been weaponized by the political class because of how they use them during electioneering season. We're going to convert that to a more productive enterprise where we'll give them employability skills. I give an example. As an architect, contractor, when you want to do POP in your house or you want to do proper tiling, you give the job to a Togo man or a man from Cotonou. But we have a lot of young men that are unemployed. We're going to give them employability skills, vocational skills, and we're going to domicile this at the local government level. So when contracts are being done at that local government, the companies get incentives to use these young men and women that have gone through these processes, and we're going to keep a database of the unemployed and the underemployed and constantly be seeking to give them significant capacity. Because with the amount of people we have in Lagos, if we are not a productive economy, we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Currently, 8 out of 10 containers that come into Lagos and by extension Nigeria leave empty. And that is a recipe for disaster. We don't have enough resources to be able to take care of all these people if they are not productive. And we must ensure that the young men and women in Lagos State are productive, they're highly skilled, and can attract businesses to come and work here because of the level of skill sets that the people in Lagos have. And the government must take and play a very significant role in this as a stakeholder in the development and flourishing of people and their businesses, so that when they then start to earn and they're paying taxes, the government then benefits, as opposed to just being a mafia shakedown type government that sees people doing well and just goes to take without giving.
Interesting.
And for the women, you just only talked about the youths.
Oh yes, and for the women, thank you very much. Women are going to have a minimum presence in our government of 35%, minimum, and it can be more. It will be more. The fact of the matter is they are going to be involved in every policy making that we're doing, and also the differently abled will also be on that table. The success of policy is by having multiple mindsets sitting and input their interests and ensure that their interests are preserved. We're also going to focus especially to tackle the number of out-of-school children in Lagos State by carrying the mothers and primary caregivers along. We're going to ensure that they are part of the policy, part of the implementation, and also start to keep databases of recently widowed and recently divorced women. Because we need to have a social welfare net that can ensure that the primary caregivers of these children are in the best mindset to actually ensure that these kids are going to school and getting quality
we'll
education.
hold you to your promises. That is, of course, if you emerge
definitely.
victorious.
That's why.
And
That's
all
why
the
I
best.
always come when you invite me.
Absolutely, all the best on Saturday. Gbadebo, road survivor, the Labour Party governorship candidate in Lagos State. Thank you for joining us tonight.